I lost about half my business pretty much overnight. And I had just started building some momentum. I had about 20 clients at that time. And overnight, half of them were gone. I'm an entrepreneur. At the time, my husband was also running his own business. So it was a matter of like, are we going to be able to pay our bills and eat and have the things that we need? For those of you who are new, welcome. I'm Makosi, also known as the Royal Shaman. I am an executive spiritual advisor, and I've helped incredible conscious change makers to fulfill their calling. And I support them by expanding their consciousness, supporting them in aligning energetically, as well as transforming their identity to be the version of themselves that actually can hold all of the abundance that's aligned for them to experience. All right. Number 3, when the money stops flowing, you want to look for opportunities for greater levels of service and impact. Now, when I say greater levels of service and impact, do not take that to mean, oh, I need to go out and just help everybody for free and I need to reach more people. More is not always better. Sometimes the impact can be depth. So looking for opportunities to serve and impact can be either width, which is creating bigger impact for more people, or you can go depth. I am a depth person. Last year, we made a very intentional decision in the Royal Shaman, which is my company where we actually are supporting conscious leaders and entrepreneurs into their next level, helping them break through their limitations and really live these incredible limitless lives and create limitless abundance in their business. One decision that we made last year intentionally, I say we, I made the decision and then the team kind of had to just get on board with it. But of course it made sense to everyone once I explained. So many businesses get really caught up in numbers, like vanity numbers of, oh, we've helped so many people. And that's really amazing. However, I've been obsessed with over the last 12, 18 months or so of like, how can we create deeper levels of impact with the people that we have? How do we work with actually fewer people? I think we've worked with half of the people that we did the year before and are making more money. And that actually creates a deeper level of intimacy with our clients. Last I checked, we have over 90% of our clients who are showing up regularly to our calls, who are contributing regularly, who are getting insight and support regularly, which is, by the way, like that's unheard of in the online space. I don't think people realize you are lucky if 5% of people last past the initial, high of joining. So that creates a better experience for everyone. Part of the thinking of that is if we create a space where people are able to go deeper, especially because we're dealing a lot with identity, that's a very deep topic and people need to feel safe. Sometimes they need time, and we can do that because we are focusing on depth. Now, you are also seeing I'm creating some things that will allow for us to have wider impact. However, there's no world, at least right now, where I see the Royal Shaman specifically focusing on huge numbers. When you're shaping leaders and supporting them in their highest calling, and not everybody's going to be a leader. That is what it is. We create our impact by supporting those leaders in the deepest way we can, and then that effect ripples out. Along the same line, you've really got to understand perceived value. If we're talking about looking for opportunities to create service and impact, you've got to get out of your own ego about what you think is important. And listen, I'm saying this to you, but I'm also saying it to myself. We have to get out of our own egos about what we think is important in the world, what we think matters in the world, and actually look at what is perceived as valuable in the world, at least to the people that we desire to spend our time with. You want to start with paying attention to, like, who do I genuinely care about in this world? Who do I want to see do well? Who do I actually enjoy spending time with? For me, that is like ambitious women who many of them have kids or have a significant other. So many of them are from very diverse backgrounds, and pretty much all of them have been a misfit or kind of misunderstood, a little bit quirky or eccentric. They see the world and what is possible in the world. They are very grounded and not super airy-fairy fluffy. Like, yes, we're talking about energetic concepts like flow and alignment, but this is a very, like, I don't understand how people don't understand that there's a very practical usefulness to flow and alignment. It's a real thing. It's not just like a, yeah, thing that the plant medicine told us. Nothing against plant medicine. Plant medicine is absolutely an incredible tool for evolution at certain stages. But I think you get what I'm saying. All right. So looking for opportunities for service and impact based on perceived value. So you're looking at who are these people that I value in the world. I want to see them do well. I see the impact that they can create. And you look at what matters to those people. You've got to get really, really good at listening. I will tell you, when the 2020 event occurred, the pandemonium party happened, I lost about half my business pretty much overnight. And I had just started building some momentum. I had about 20 clients at that time. And overnight, half of them were gone. I'm an entrepreneur. At the time, my husband was also running his own business. So it was a matter of like, are we going to be able to pay our bills and eat and have the things that we need? I took a few days, literally like 2 or 3 days, and I just listened. By the way, this is probably one of my secret superpowers. I can listen to what is being said that isn't being said, right? It's like being able to read between the lines and deduce what a person actually values from the things that they're saying. So one way that I did that, I realized a lot of people are they were just so unsure about the future. They needed to feel some certainty in a path forward. Like, everyone was there was so much anxiety and stress. And I was like, I know that I can support people. Number one, I'm like a rock, and legit. It's pretty impossible to tell me some things and get me to be in the dumps with you. I'm pretty solid that way. So immediately what I did was I started offering pay what you can intensives. I had people who were able to choose their investment levels, and there were actually a few who couldn't invest anything, and I still did them anyway. I'm really proud of that because I know for sure most of them did well, but there's one in particular that comes to mind who at that time could not pay. She was in the middle of launching a restaurant when everything got shut down, and she was so terrified. So I supported her in that. And by the way, she has a thriving restaurant now. It's been 3 years, and the restaurant business is difficult anyway. And she launched in that period of time when everything was restricted and closed down. And now she's created so much success in her restaurant. She did come back and actually pay me, pay me something, whatever, I don't even remember how much it was, but I thought that was really incredible that once things got up and running for her, she did come back and thank me monetarily, which was awesome. So that perceived value, super, super duper important. This is what makes making money easy, when you are able to understand how people value what they perceive as valuable. And then all you're doing is matching your innate genius, your unique characteristics, your skill sets, and knowledge that you've embodied to a point where it's become wisdom. You just deliver that in support of what matters to the other person. And when you start doing this and you make a habit of it, you just see money everywhere. And all you have to do is create a container for it, which can be space on your calendar. You just clear space on your calendar. You open the door for it, so you give them a way to pay you money. And that's it. You don't need a website. You don't need a brand. You don't need blah, 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 blah. You can just be making money anyway. Great example of this. My husband's truck has been rented for the week. He just got back last night, but he was on a cruise with his friends, and he has a truck, and people are moving and they need trucks, but they don't want to buy a truck. So that truck has been making him money all week long. The next, or the last, it's like the last two, but they kind of go together, is you really want to examine the stories that you're telling about where you are in reality or what's happening financially. So you want to examine, are you saying things like, I'm broke? Are you telling stories that actually aren't serving? Let's say that the money stopped flowing. It could be either your income decreased or your expenses increased unexpectedly. And one thing I see happen when, let's say, a tax bill comes due that you just weren't prepared for, I will see somebody, or I'll see lots of people say something like, oh, this always happens. Anytime I'm doing better or things are going well, this always happens. There's unexpected expenses. Well, does this always happen, or are taxes a part of the process? And it's just not something that you were considering, right? Which of those views is actually more serving? Well, it'd probably be more serving for you to just accept that taxes are a part of it and be grateful for the ability to create abundance with no limitation. What you give in exchange through taxes. You should be minimizing those taxes. That's a different conversation, but that's part of it, right? Instead of, telling stories that aren't actually helpful. This goes hand in hand with my last point, which is to really focus it on evolving your identity. At the identity levels, so much of the reality that we are experiencing is a direct result or a direct reflection of our identity. Who we think we are, what we think matters or doesn't matter, the beliefs, behaviors, and patterns that we carry through the world. Now, the truth is that we are, at our core, at our essence, limitless, that we have a non-physical aspect of us that can access limitless abundance, limitless money, limitless opportunities, limitless love and connection. It's literally limitless. However, we have an identity that creates limitations in order for us to be able to have this experience in reality. You are always limiting yourself. That is a fact. So, when we start recognizing our patterns and pay attention to where those are coming from, what is that identity? Is that identity serving me? I used to tell a story to myself that because I was from, I'm from West Virginia, I made that mean so many things about me. I made being from West Virginia mean that I was poor, that I wasn't intelligent enough to figure things out, that I, was just a small town girl, blah, 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 blah. And because I was shaped by and holding that identity, I was making all sorts of decisions unconsciously that continued to just reinforce that. Like, oh, I don't fit in wealthy circles, right? I would do things that would keep me from fitting in with wealthy circles. So the biggest takeaway from this that I want you to really sit with, there is, in this reality, the strategy about what to do is about 20% of creating the reality. Whenever I'm having a conversation, I do this all the time when I'm speaking with someone, they often want to just skip to, Makosi, tell me what to do about blah, 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 blah to make the money start flowing, right? Or to take me to the next level or solve this issue. And you can take all sorts of action. However, if you haven't examined where that's coming from and is it actually in alignment with what you want to experience in reality, it's not going to be serving you at all. A great example of this, I'll use my own personal example. I sometimes will work with someone one-on-one, and there's so many people out there who are like, oh, in order to be successful, you need to work one-on-one with people. I could go all into these strategies about working one-on-one with people. However, if I sit and look at who I am at my essence, like my greatest gifts, I feel, come out when I'm in a group setting. And I look at what is the lifestyle that's most in alignment with me. I'm a person who, in human design, I'm a 5-1, and I'm mostly first lines. I have a ton of first lines. So what that means is I am a researcher and an investigator at heart. I spend a ton of time and energy, and it lights me up to do it. And from that, I'm able to synthesize knowledge in a way that other people are able to use it and take these really, really complex, abstract ideas and make them very simple and grounded and practical, where others can take them and then utilize them and see success, right? If I tell the truth about who I am and what I want and what I desire, the truth is that I am a person that needs space. You can ask my husband, you can ask my son. I'm a person that requires a lot of space, a lot of space. And so if I know that is, number one, the most serving to me as a person, as an individual, and it's also supportive of my highest gifts in this world, in my highest genius, then spending a bunch of time trying to execute on a strategy that is really meant for someone very different than me, right? How effective am I going to be at that? It's going to be a struggle for me to do that. It's also going to feel misaligned. So if you're feeling that you are misaligned, most likely you've taken on strategies that simply aren't in alignment with who you are at the core, at your essence, that aren't in alignment with the version of you that you're becoming and the lifestyle that you want to have. Whew, I've been in flow for this entire session. I just realized how much time we've been going. So anyway, I think it's important that we start wrapping this up, but the identity piece and evolving your identity is the root. When you understand that everything starts with who you be, your entire reality, what you have and what you do are a direct result of who you be, then you will understand that by focusing on evolving who you be, you create ripple effects. And one of those ripple effects is the amount of prosperity, money, wealth that you experience. It's simply just reflecting your identity. Not who you actually are, but who you think you are. So, with that said, if you have not yet, make sure to subscribe so that you get notifications. We are going to be doing topics on money this entire month.